Hello and good evening. It's another episode of Asviro Investors London interviews with great speakers and professionals from around the table, just to complement your investment journey. So tonight we've got with us Wojciech Kołodziejczak. Well, where's my manners? So good evening. I'm Greg Piskozov, your host for this evening interview. And I'm privileged to have Wojciech with me tonight. And Wojciech is also known as Live Networker. Brilliant, brilliant name. So Wojciech is passionate about networking, as a rich background in legal practice and business development. It's the best person that we can think of how to help you improve and level up your networking skills. And well, why they're even important. So, Wojciech, would you also like to introduce yourself or compliment my intro about you?
Thank you so much. You've been very kind, and it's so cool to be here. I've seen you have you know, apart from yourself, there were some amazing people here as well. Yeah, I'm privileged to be here. My name is Wojciech, and yes, my passion is to help my clients get new business, new clients through networking, building personal brand, making impact wherever you go, whether it's online or offline, your brand can shine. So that's why I'm so excited to talk about it today and convince some people to join us tomorrow and on Saturday, because we are in for a treat, right?
We are certainly. So, well, the whole reason of this interview is to give the audience, give the people and whoever is watching us, live today, or a replay from this interview. It's why should we go to networking? Why should we networking? And what is important? So maybe just to give, just to start, what is networking and why is it important? Actually, what is networking?
Actually, it's got so many names. It's one of these terms that's been so misused. So you probably heard it many times that people are saying, "Oh, networking is network marketing," which is like just contacting people, building network. It's a model of business. So networking is something else, and network is not collecting business cards. Networking is just building relationships, as simple as that. It needs work because it's net of contact and work. So it's like with garden. You need to work on your garden to have some beautiful trees, some fruit. So like with networking, you need to seed some plants, then water them, a bit of sun, a bit of time, and boom, you have lovely fruit. And the same thing is with networking, building relationships, whether it's online, on LinkedIn, Facebook, or in real life. It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes great strategy to have the result that you want, whether it's to find a new job, whether you are looking for new clients, whether you want to just find new knowledge, find new mentor, and sometimes meet new friends.
Absolutely. Maybe let's put some strategy into this interview, because I know we only have you for maybe 35, 45 minutes top, but I know how busy you are, and I know that well, we are in England. I can tell that you're definitely not in England, because that sun right behind you, that's not in English, not in English weather. So where are you now, Wojciech?
Yeah, it's not virtual background, by the way. So yeah, it's a lovely place in Spain. So we still have a bit of sun and lots of greenery around me. But you know what? I'm so excited that I'm flying to London tomorrow. So it's been a while. So every time I go to UK, I'm so happy because I know that I will meet great people.
Well, listen, we can definitely serve you some sunshine, some rain. We can put this into a blender, and it will be all over the place. But tonight, Wojciech, thank you for being with us, and I would like to ask you, a series of questions, so we can just keep this very active, and just to help the audience and help people understand why they should network, what is important about networking, and how to balance the profession, the profession leaving lasting impact, on your networking, skills. So how can you measure the networking, success? And it's just how to, and obviously, so we're going to come back to these questions. I'm just like setting, setting the levels where we're going to go and what we're going to cover, and also as this event is for property investors and investors and business entrepreneurs. So networking is very important. I understand, but I would like I would like to hear this from you, and how this also can help you to raise private finance. So I know from experience that sooner or later you will eventually run out of your own money when you acquire new investment, whether these are properties or anything else. And then you acquire the private finance, and sometimes it is easier to do that, sometimes it's quite challenging. So will networking help us to do that? And if, how can networking, what is the most efficient way to raise a private finance, in your opinion?
Well, it's networking is a big part of it. I will give you an example to answer this.
Mhm.
So one of my friends, his name is John, and he's a very experienced property investor. He's
Mhm.
involved with projects like big developments in London and other parts of the UK, overseas as well. And so I asked him, like, John, how do you get all these people? Because there's big part of the money that he's investing his money, and he's also gathering other investors that invest together with him, or some of the projects that he's involved. So I think, John, how do you get these people? Because you're not very active on social media. So how do you
Mhm.
do it? And John says, well, it's because people know me. I've been on the market for 20 odd years doing what I do. I deliver on all the promises. So I make sure that whenever I'm inviting people to be part of the project, so they put their money in, I need to make sure that it's a good deal, because one deal can damage my reputation, and this will spread. Bad news spreads so quickly. So
Bad news does. They
sometimes,
always do. They always do.
absolutely, absolutely. So that's why it's so hard to get all these recommendations,
Mhm.
testimonials over the years. But one big mistake, and boom, people start talking about it. So that's why it's so important. And
Mhm.
so Tia's answer was networking, because he builds relationships. He goes to industry industry meetings, conferences. Um, so basically, he wants to be around the places where there are potential investors, people who's got money and who are looking for a reputable partner to invest with. So that,
Okay.
and all his business was based on building relationships. And over time, so initially when he started, he was going to different conferences,
Mhm.
networking events around the industry. Then it was pretty much spreading word of mouth, and boom, delivering on the promises on the project, and he
Okay.
had more and more referrals. So
Okay.
that's
So
how
it's like
it works.
going to the events, meeting with people, and letting them know what you do, and that regardless whether you've made a mistake or not, whether you've had failed in the past, it still be true to yourself and just go out, speak to people, and let them know. And the more you do it, did you say it's consistency? Would you say consistency is important?
Absolutely,
So
because
how,
like he
how
said, it's
often
20
should
odd
we go?
years.
How often should we go and network? Because obviously, I'm sure you can overdo it. So, what's, in your opinion, what would be the right amount of networking? Because we've got lives, we've got families and hobbies, and I've over networked. I know, and I'm just like, wow, you really how to choose. What's the right balance?
I've been there too. Many times. I had moments in my life when I was overdoing it, and it was affecting my sanity, my personal life and business as well, because sometimes you need the right focus. So before you go out networking, you need to figure out what are your main goals.
Hmm.
What is the most pressing matter in your business? And then once you know what's the biggest pressing matter, and whether this meeting that you're going to will
Hmm.
reply or will help you to achieve your goal. So, for example, just a couple of days ago, my friend called me and asked me, "Listen, Wojtek, do you think this Asbiro investors in London meeting is going to help me? I know networking is great, but you know me, I'm very busy, and at the moment, my biggest concern is finding the right people in my business, recruitment." So,
That is a very
so I
good
asked her,
question.
okay.
Yes.
So I said, okay, so if your goal is
Hmm.
recruitment, so you need to ask yourself if, at these meetings, you can find people who wants to find a job within property.
Hmm.
So, and the best thing I said, the best thing is if you call one of the organizers
Yes.
and ask them before the meeting. As bureau team, you can call them, you can message them, you can email them, and that's the best thing because it's not the first meeting. These meetings were in Sheffield many times in London. So that's what she did. She called them and she found out that yes, there are people who are dreaming about investing, but they want to get the foot in the industry as well. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
So
she's
finding
going to
it.
be with us on Saturday.
Absolutely, well, fantastic. So that's exactly and that's the power of networking. But we're gonna go a little bit deeper into uh, why network. What is important, and so we're touching on those questions. Because they're very relevant to the whole experience. And how uh, how would you measure your success when you network? So whenever you network, you've already arranged your diary. You're going to go and hit relevant groups and attend. How you measure your success on your networking? Can you measure? Is it measurable? If how?
Absolutely, absolutely. You measure basically depending on your goal. So
Yeah.
it could be recruitment. It could
Yes.
be networking to find business partners, investors, or clients. So basically, you can measure by number of follow-up meetings, how many relationship this
Yeah.
particular networking conference meeting generated, and then you can measure out of all these follow-up meetings, how many proposals have you sent? How many concrete conversation have you had after the follow-up? Kind of,
But actually,
opportunities.
I'm gonna comment here because networking, and you've also mentioned something very important: a follow up. So
Absolutely.
when you network, you measure by follow-ups, and how many of those follow-ups convert into a business. So follow-up, how who's doing the follow-up? You wait for them, you give them a business. So for example, on my scenario, I'm sometimes I'm handing over my business cards, sometimes I'm taking the business cards. Are you waiting for people to call you? What, in your opinion, how we should do it?
I always try to take initiative.
Hmm.
Sometimes during very tough moments when it's very busy, it's hard.
Hmm.
But whenever possible, I always try to take initiative, and I always plan follow up. So
Yes.
Actually, your follow-up should start at the actual event.
Okay.
So when you're having conversation, you can actually arrange a follow-up call, follow-up video call, or telephone conversation, because we're all busy. We're gonna go back to the real world after the event, and
Absolutely.
it's actually better when you had some synergy with someone, you exchange conversations, and then, hey, why don't we have a proper follow-up on video? Or if you're living close to each other, why don't we grab a coffee? And then you ask, like, when is it possible? How is next week looking for you? How
Okay.
is, if it's not the next week, but once you have the time and date, boom, that's the best thing you can have, because sometimes it's one of these, like, yeah, we should meet, we should call, and if you don't have this planned in your scheduled in your calendar, it's more likely that it will disappear. So if you can arrange the follow-up, then after the conference, arrange at least 1 hour for the follow-up plan.
Okay.
So you go after the event, you have 1 hour. It's good to do it within 48 hours from the event.
Mm-hmm.
So you go through all the business card, all the messages on your phone, all the contacts. Make sure to prioritize all these contacts, and then connect with them on LinkedIn, connect with them on other social media. Make sure to find out what's the best way of communication with people, because sometimes you want to do follow-up and you're sending email to someone who doesn't like emails, or you're sending to people message on WhatsApp and they just not regularly on WhatsApp, or you send it,
So finding out what is the best way to contact you. What's your preferred way for me to contact
yeah,
you? That's how we should do it,
that's it.
and that's efficient. So measuring your success on on networking is by how many of those follow-ups will actually be successful follow-ups. You manage to get in contact because you're going to find out what is their preferred way to contact, and maybe that will turn into a business relationship or not. Well, that's very good, fair play. So we've tonight, if anyone had just joined us this evening, we've got Wojciech with us, Wojciech Kołodziejczak, and what Wojciech is telling us about is how we should network, what is the most important about networking, and how to do it efficiently, how to measure the networking. Wojciech will be joining us at Saturday evening at the event as Investors in London. The link to the event is just in the comments below. If you'd like to join us, please come and do. But if you have any questions for Wojciech, at this moment in time, and you want to ask that question and get Wojciech to help you, get through it or clarify something for you, please leave it in the comments, and we'll ask Wojciech to answer that question. So Wojciech, we briefly touched on what is networking. We've also talked about how it can help you raise your private finance, and how we can measure actually the success of that. Because we all do want to be successful, and I think in between, all of those steps as you go along on the networking. There is a way of building your personal brand. Could you just help me understand, and everyone else, what is the personal brand and why should anyone care?
One of my favorite definitions of personal
Mm-hmm.
brand is the one put by Jeff Bezos. It's like
Okay.
it's how the people talk, about you when you're not in the room.
I
So
like it.
if if you are I don't know, a financial advisor, and you're not in the room, and someone like, hey, do you know any financial advisor? And then people are, oh, it's Greg, oh, it's John, it's Paul, and then you know that you have, within this community, you have a strong personal brand, and people refer you. People think about you when this magic word, this keyword comes up. So it's obviously personal brand is much more than that. It's it's part of it. It's your mission, your values, your value proposition. It's all together. But to put it in a simple words, it's the image that people have in their minds that when they think about you, like strong brands like Elon Musk, like Mark Zuckerberg, Richard Branson. We can name many. Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
And within property circles, you have people like Simon Zucchi.
Yes.
Like I'm so glad that he's going to be on Saturday as well. So that by the way, massive congrats! You've nailed it. I mean, you put together an event with so many great speakers.
Mhm.
I mean, like
Thank you.
wow! I'm impressed, man.
Well, but but it's a group. Well, I'm only just just one of the teams. That's contributing to this brilliant success. We've got an amazing team that actually make this all happen, and shout out to them because they are doing an amazing job, and I'm super excited too. But as tonight we'll talk about the networking, why it's important, and building a strong personal brand. It is very important. So, as you said, Jeff Bezos, your favorite quote by Jeff Bezos is, "What people say about you when you leave the room." But how do you get there? How do you actually, how do you almost like not only a program, but how those people would want to talk about you? So, what do you have to do?
What pretty much what we are talking about all day, which is
Mm-hmm.
networking, because
Mm-hmm.
like it's it all consists of like strong personal brand based
Okay.
on the mission. So it's your why, your values, your why.
Okay.
So whatever you do, you need to figure out your why. Why do you do what you do?
Okay.
And build your mission and find out the values around what you do. Because with this strong why, you will be indestructible, and people, and you will make impact, because when you start talking about what you do with passion, it's like it's infected,
Mm-hmm.
and people are kind of like, oh wow, he is really passionate about what he does, and it's so cool. So that's one thing. The second part of it is credibility, so make sure to deliver on the promises. And the last bit is visibility, because if you don't work on your visibility, you can have strong personal brand, you can have credibility, but only small circles of people will know about you. And okay, for some businesses with high margins, it's okay. You don't have to have a massive visibility. But with many businesses these days, you need to have a bit more visibility. So this is where you can do networking, to show up in circles where your clients are, where your decision makers are, and obviously social media. Think about social media where your ideal targets are. So depending what your goal, if it's getting clients, if you want to find a job, or maybe you want to find investors, then you need to figure out, like in networking, if you want to find investors, you wouldn't go to medical awards conference, because it's highly unlikely that you will find property investors there. So that's why I really like very niche conferences like Asviro, because this is very specific.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and the same with social media. If you are looking for particular group, you need to find out on which social media platform are they. If it's LinkedIn, if it's Facebook, if it's TikTok, or maybe Instagram. So that's why, from the visibility point of view, it's good to be very strategic about where you show up. Because if you show up in the wrong place, you will only get a stick, a lot of hate from people that are not your cup of tea.
Yes, absolutely. So choosing your audience, choosing your events wisely, and if you can really narrow it down to the niche, it's quite important. But even taking this, the event we've put together, and it's actually starting tomorrow for the VIP, session where people have made that investment not only, in pounds in terms of money, but they've made an investment in terms of time, because we've got the event running over 2 days, and tomorrow we've got the VIP part of the event, and it's already locked in. As a matter of fact, we may even have only one space left for a VIP event. Maybe we won't have any at that point in time, because the tickets have sold out very quickly. So that part of networking, we talk about networking, and tomorrow I will be joining a really motivated group of people who wants to be in a room and just and listening to what you're saying, and what I've learned is I'm really excited just for that part alone, because me going to this event, I'm joining all the great minds who also have made investment of time and money to be there. So as you said, it's very niche about property. That's the whole Asbiro Investors Network. Is around property investing, but we do diverse into a different investment technology, into how we run business. Because as you previously said, is someone was looking for a job opportunity, but I'm currently looking to hire a manager in for my business. So I'm super excited, because these guys help me, and they can help you and everyone else who's watching and joining us at this event. But taking that, sorry, it took me very long to ask that question. But considering that we've only run Polish, Polish speaking in business investment networking sessions up until now, and we are now going into we open now to English. Then how do we overcome the cross-cultural considerations in networking? How do we do that?
Oh, wow. I'm actually so excited about this, because this great organization is spreading and is inviting not just Polish but other cultures, and we can grow as a Polish community. We can grow among other cultures, among English. I think it's a brilliant idea, and it's gonna be beneficial to our community and to English and other cultures that will be part of it. How do you do it? It's very simple. It's step one. You need to be aware that we are different.
Okay.
That's step one when it comes to intercultural communication. Awareness that our set of rules is different. We as Poles, we have certain views on the culture, how to behave, how to do this, and when we come across people from other cultures, they may have different set of rules. And sometimes it's the way you communicate. It's the way you introduce yourself. So for example, for our culture, it's standard to shake hands when we meet with other cultures, but in certain cultures, shake hand, it's not a standard. And you probably heard this, where, when you have a group of Polish and someone is joining the Polish group, that person is shaking hand on every person in that small group.
Yeah, we do. We like that. Yes, it's a sign of
Yeah,
respect.
absolutely. And but when you have British, for example, and someone is joining the group,
Yeah,
they will
so,
not shake hands with everyone.
no,
And it's
no,
a
they don't.
standard to say hello, because they want, because for them it would be awkward to shake hands one by one, and then others are waiting when you finish. And
Yeah,
and obviously when you go to job interview, and when you win on one-to-one or with a group of 2 people, maybe 3, you will shake hands with everyone. But when you have a group of 4 or 5, highly unlikely. So that's just one example. And another one is, like, we Poles, we are very direct.
yes,
And
we are.
when we meet with British, they they're not as direct as us, so we need to be mindful, to that there are people who may feel awkward when we are kind of like, hey, so what do you do? So what are you selling today?
Yeah,
and,
I know.
and and
Yeah, we can be very direct. And when you mentioned just now about going around and shaking everyone's hands, it's very typical. We do this. We always done it, and for us it's normal. But yeah, rightly said. Whenever you're joining the group of a group of people who chats, in England, they just hi, can I join in? That's it. But in Poland, that might be, I don't know, on a border, just maybe not being polite, but just jump in. But I just want to say something, very unique. So I've met this gentleman in through networking, and his name is Andy. Shout out to Andy, and he's got his business training and coaching, and it's called Business with a Hag, or Service with a Hag. And I just it just came to my mind. It's free hags, just ask. And I am a big hugger, and so I do go around and I hug people. I love it. It's me sharing my energy with everyone, and I do that. I love it. So if you see me hug people, it's just me. And so how do because as you said, so English they don't, Polish we do shake hands, and I hug. How do we actually, so how do we, taking consideration in this difference in culture, do we need to worry about that, or should we just stay ourselves?
just be mindful. Just be
Hmm.
mindful that a certain set of rules might not apply to certain people, and the best thing is to ask. Kind
Okay.
of like, hey, do you? So sometimes, you know, I, I don't mind making fool of myself sometimes. Kind of like, hey, so what do we
Me
do? Do we
too.
shake hands, or do we hug? Hey, I apologize. I'm Polish. I've been brought up in a
Yeah.
certain way. So I'm just, I'm kind of like I'm, I'm trying to put it on me, so the other person doesn't feel awkward, and they kind of like, no, shake hand is fine. Shake hand, handshake is fine. So I always ask, because you never know. You never know. And the best thing is to listen, to watch, observe, and sometimes it's a bit of mirror and matching of the behavior. Sometimes it's the way people talk, whether it's fast. If you meet someone who is introvert and they have very low pace, and all of a sudden you comes up like, hey, blah, 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 that the energy is so different, then they feel not great around you. So it's great to try to mirror and match someone else's energy, so they feel great. So that's the best networkers do. They listen, they
I'm smiling
observe.
here because what you described just a moment ago is my friend Anna. I love her. She's amazing, but she's very, introvert. And whenever I just, I just like, hey! And no, 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 hi. That's
Still
it.
no,
And
still no.
I, yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Just stay there. No hugging, no touching. So yeah, very important. And all of so summarizing where we are now is going choosing the right events so we don't overdo networking, and considering who we speak and actually who speak to, and follow up from this conversation is very important, because that builds that helps you build your connections, your network. And if you do that consistently over a time, you may start building on your personal brand, because it's not or not overnight thing. That may take months and years even, I'd say. And but that also helps us measure the success, as you just said. So networking, follow-ups, and how successful are those follow-ups is the measurement of your success, of your networking success, which is brilliant. And obviously taking into consideration the difference in cultures and behaviors, behavioral style as well is very important. So observe and mirror is a very good advice. Thank you, Wojciech, for that. But as this is an entrepreneurs meeting, what advice you could give to an inspiring entrepreneurs? Best golden nugget you could give.
Okay, the last one. Remember not to be the smartest person in the room.
Very good.
So that's why going to this type of events, conferences is great, because you can meet the expert speakers, organizers, and other participants who have more experience, who have some insider knowledge. They have something that you might not have. And when you're not going to this type of events, then sometimes people like to be, they like to stay in their comfort zone where they are the smartest person in the room because it's convenient, and it's cool. But when you stay too long in that place, you don't develop. You're not going to the next stage. So so that's one of the piece of advice that my grandfather gave me, and I stick to it. So I keep on going to new rooms where there are people way ahead of me, and it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable because you kind of like you feel like, oh my God, I've been doing this so long, and it's just like I feel like a learner again, like a beginner again. But that's how you grow. So, I initially started as a lawyer. Then I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I had to go to meetings where the entrepreneurs are, so I can find inspiration, find out how to run the business. When I started the business, then I had to meet people who have the business for many years, so I can learn from them. And just recently, I'm among people who has got businesses with 500 plus employees, and they have massive business. And my business is around 10 people, so it's not even close to 500. But if I'll be around people with 10 employees, I would be kind of like, okay, I feel great here because I'm among people who are at the same stage, but I'm not growing. So
we are touching a little bit on the mindset as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, it is very important. That was a very good advice. Is a bit more humble and try not to be the smartest person in the room whenever you go networking, because that may give a wrong impression on other people. And not sure. So I love this quote. That's Simon Zucchi, one of my mentors and coaches, is always saying, whenever we go to these events or training sessions or learning and development, Simon would always say is, you think you know everything, but this 5% that you've missed it last time, or only a 5% can change your life. Certainly. So that was, that's a very good advice. Thank you so much. And that's my advice as well. This, you may think you know everything, but the 5% you might miss out, and that's very important. That can change everything what you do. And you've also, Wojciech, thank you. You've touched on the mindset. I'm the biggest advocate of working on your mind and choosing the right path for you. And as you said, if you are attending meetings and you are spending time with people who are greater than you, have better success in business and life, you are almost getting all of that energy from them as well. So yeah, that's also a great place and good energy to be within, because if I've seen a lot of people who have very small success in businesses, but they will brag about it like hell. And then you go to to networking events that people have billions of in business, and they wouldn't say anything about that because they don't have to show up. They are not the smartest. They don't want to be the smartest person in the room. Maybe they are, but they just don't want to do it. So good advice. Thank you so much. If we have any comments from our audience, please leave them in the chat now. We have to give Wojciech his life back now. He will have to go and obviously resume a lovely evening in Spain. And what a beautiful sunshine you've got there. And it's quite, it's all dark in the UK now, I can assure you. But Wojciech, really looking forward to see you tomorrow. And if there is, anything, actually, there is something. There is this one great, amazing thing I would want to do. And Wojciech, I would like you to tell me and the audience. Let me just get my phone. And so the organizers of this event have done something absolutely amazing. And listen, guys, because you're going to love this. So how many times have you been on the networking event where you met the person who could change your life, business, just turn it or upside down? You took a card and you lost it. And what is happening, at this event, hopefully there are no different apps, but we've got this app. It's called 7 Events, and it's all about our events. And how brilliant it is you can meet everyone within the app. And where are the participants? So there is a tab just for the participants, just for the GDPR. I'm not going to show all the names, but it's amazing. So if I'm going to just search
you can share my profile, because I've done my profile today.
Oh, have you? Let me just find you. So great. Let's do it. So if we just type in Void,
it's really
there
cool.
You go. So all I'm doing is pressing on your profile. And as easy as that, I'm just pressing add to my contacts. That's it. It took me 1 second to add you to the contact. And for the networking, you don't have to. Yeah, let's not concentrate on I have to remember your name. Give me your business card. It's already being looked after by our amazing team who are organizing this great events. And here it is, a lovely picture. And this is power of attending the right networking session. It's all being looked after for you because it's being organized by investors who are doing this actively in the business and networking. So, Wojciech, see you tomorrow. Thank you for your time. Enjoy Spain. Come to England. We've got some sun. We've got some rain. We won't disappoint. We'll deliver, and we've got amazing packed events.
Hats off, guys. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for your time, and audience, thank you for listening and watching. And have a nice evening. See you, some of you tomorrow evening, and majority of you, Saturday nights. Well, Saturday day is a full day packed event. So thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.
See you soon.